My story begins, promisingly enough, in an old psychiatric hospital. As I no longer live in the same area nor work for the same company, I can even tell you where it is. It's called Klien in Dumfries, Scotland. Now you may have a mental image of such a place, but I can assure you it's nothing like what you might imagine. Beautiful buildings set in a manicured parkland, it even has an imposing church at its heart. The signs of its history are there if you know where to look. The imposing staircase with its beautiful wrought iron guardrails make it look pretty, but they're there for a purpose, and that's to stop anyone throwing themselves 40 feet to certain death on the intricately tiled floor below. Hidden rooms that have never seen daylight. The people who work there probably aren't even aware these hidden rooms are there, but they are. As I say, you just need to know where to look. My job was as a security guard. Each night I would drive slowly around the complex for an hour at a time. There are plenty of places someone with ill intent could hide, and it's just me, a 5'2" female armed only with a torch. Prior to me starting, the company had been through 2 guards that hadn't mentioned the fact that they were afraid of the dark, but it never bothered me. It never occurred to me to feel unsafe. Part of my job was to deal with alarm calls. These were usually caused by drafts, moths, flapping curtains, but nothing sinister. I would be asked, don't you get scared going into those buildings all alone? Well, no, never. It just didn't occur to me to be scared of things that might go bump in the night. It was one of those beautiful midwinter nights just before Christmas. The moon was so bright that it cast shadows around the buildings, and if I went to the furthest end of the complex where there were no lights, the stars. I think the stars are what I miss most. Too much light pollution where I live now, but I remember tilting my head back and seeing the constellations in the faint haze of the Milky Way. I was driving around, minding my own business, when I heard an alarm from one of the buildings. Solway House, to be precise. It's one of the oldest buildings on the complex, and one of the only ones that looks rather dark and forbidding. These days it's used as an art studio and practice rooms for budding musicians. It's not unknown for this alarm to go off, so I parked up and got the keys out of the back of my van. This would be easy. There was an obvious reason for the alarm. The art glass had left the external door wide open. I shut off the alarm and got out my paperwork. As I started to write, I became aware of a loud banging from one of the upper floors. My first thought was that someone was still there. My second thought was, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's -4 outside, and this is an art studio. Who's going to break in, an insomniac art critic? Even so, I had to check, so up the stairs I went. I couldn't tell where the banging had come from as it had stopped. I checked each of the rooms and no one was there, of course, or was deathly quiet. So I went back downstairs to continue with my paperwork. The banging started again. Louder though, it sounded as if the furniture was being thrown around. Could there be a window open, banging in the wind? Nice try. There wasn't a breath of wind, but you tell yourself these things when you're in an old psychiatric hospital, on your own at the true witching hour. Nothing for it. I would have to go up again. There must be something. The banging was loud. It really did sound like furniture being thrown. Once again, I went to the art studio, almost expecting the place to be trashed, but everything was in place. I checked the windows. All locked. I even checked the toilets with their creepy pipes, but there wasn't a sound. I was perplexed. This noise must be coming from somewhere. Now, I'm as partial to a good paranormal yarn as the next person, but when you're attending an alarm activation, you're looking for tangible reasons. Companies will try and wiggle out of paying for a call-out as it is, but you try putting under the reason for activation shadow people or soul-sucking demon from the pits of hell. You could go whistle for your money, that's for sure. It's as I'm going downstairs for the second time that I feel it. My skin prickles with cold, clammy, static electricity. I could swear there's something behind me, not someone. Something. Something that doesn't want me there. Don't let it know you know it's there. Don't let it know you're scared. But what is it exactly? I can't explain, except I know that I've felt this before. Many years ago, as I gladly moved out of a house whose negative vibe had drained my life of colour. It's a feeling, like a massive negative energy. That's all it is. That time before that had felt malevolent. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's the only way I can describe the pure fear I felt. And so I descended the stairs. The feeling kept pace with me. There's only one thing for it. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. I'm not a Catholic, but when the chips are down, the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel can be pretty effective. It's also good for sleep paralysis, but that's another story. On the final turn of the stairs, the creeping feeling stopped, just like that. I'd like to say I ran out into the night like a big girly, but I had paperwork to finish. As I did, the banging started again, the sound of furniture crashing to the ground. I finished my paperwork, went to the bottom of the stairs, and shouted, "I haven't got all night for your nonsense. I'm going now so you can knock yourself out." And that was it. I left. Later on, back at the office, I said to one of my colleagues, "Weird thing, I was at an alarm at Solway House." He stopped me. "Ghosts?" "Oh, aye. Solway House is haunted as hell. That's where they used to cremate the bodies when patients died." So there you have it. I will say one thing for the ghosts of Solway House. At least they have taste. At least they're haunting a rather beautiful, if forbidding, building. We also had a ghost in the office, our uninspiring 1950s concrete box of an office. A ghost with no ambition. A ghost that was basically phoning it in. I prefer my ghost with a bit of class. The sort that choose frostbitten, moonlit nights to make themselves known. I'm sure they will still be there, long after I'm gone.